पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। Hare Krishna. So we have just begun the third canto. The third canto is the status quo, and many topics are discussed in this: Sarga, Visarga, Sthanam, Poshanam. And particularly this canto focuses on the dialogue between Mahatma Vidur and the great sage Maitreya Rishi. And here in the first chapter, what were the reasons which led for Mahatma Vidur to leave the kingdom of Indraprastha or Hastinapur in particular, is being cited that the grave injustices, the grave partiality, or the kind of atrocities which were given to the Pandavas. So that is being listed here. Srila Sukadeva Goswami is mentioning that what became the reason for Maharaj Vidur to quit the kingdom of Hastinapur and proceed for the pilgrimage, where he had the opportunity to meet the great sage Maitreya Rishi. So we heard so many reasons being spoke that the Kauravas led by Dhritarashtra, they always tried to decimate the Pandavas by plotting to kill them and insulting Draupadi, the cheating in the gambling match, and even to the extent when the Pandavas completed their exile, they came back, they were denied their kingdom. So, moving on to the 10th verse of this chapter. This is the conversation, this is the scene which is there in the assembly of the blind king Dhritarashtra. Yada upahata bhavanam pravishto mantraya prishta kila purvajena ata aha tan aha atha aha tan matridrisham variyan ata ahan tan mantridarshan variyan yan mantrino vadurikam vadanti. When Budur was invited by his elder brother Dhritarashtra for consultation, what for consultation? The advice which was coming from Krishna. Krishna came as the messenger, and when he came as the messenger to ask for the last to last verse, we were saying, yeah. So they were asked to return the kingdom to the Pandavas, at least their share. At last, the Pandavas demanded only 5 villages, one for each of the 5 brothers. But that was also refused. So Dhritarashtra confidentially called Vidura to discuss and consult with him that in such a situation what he should do. When Vidura was invited by his elder brother Dhritarashtra for consultation, he entered the house and gave instructions which were exactly to the point. His advice is well known, and instructions by Vidura are approved by great ministers of state. Political suggestions by Vidura are known as expert. Just as the modern times, Pandit Chanakya is considered the authority in good counsel in both political and moral instructions. What was his consultation or instruction? Ajat Shatru Pratiyachadayam. Ajat Shatru Pratiyachadayam. Titikshato Durvihasam Tabagaha. Sahanujo Yatra Vidok Brakodare. Swasanrusha Yatvam Alam Bibhesi. So this is the advice which was given by Mahatma Vidur to Dhritarashtra. Vidur said, you must now return the legitimate share of kingdom to Yudhishthir, who had no enemies and who has been forbearing through untold sufferings due to your offenses. He has been forbearing through untold suffering due to your offenses. He is waiting for with his younger brothers, among whom he is the revengeful Bhima, breathing heavily like a snake. Surely you are afraid of him. See how he consults. He is giving the clear picture that you are envying someone whose enemy is not born, that is Maharaj Yudhishthir. And you are committing so much offenses against the Pandavas that your family is suffering and it will further suffer. What you have to do, you have to give back them their due share of kingdom. पार्थान्तु देवो भगवान् मुकुन्दो गृहीत्वान् साक्षिता देवदेवः अष्टे स्वपुर्यान् यदुदेव देवो विनिर्जित विनिर्जिताशेष नरदेव देवः. Lord Krishna, the personality of Godhead, had accepted the sons of Pritha as his kinsmen. And all the kings of the world are with Lord Sri Krishna. He is present in his home with all his family members, the kings and princes of the Yadu dynasty, who have conquered an unlimited number of rulers, and he is their Lord. Vidra gave Dhritarashtra very good counsel regarding political alliance with the sons of Pandu, the Pandavas. The first thing he said was that Lord Krishna was intimately related with them as their cousin. Because Lord Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he is worshipable by all the Brahmanas and demigods, who are the controllers of the universal affairs. Besides that, Lord Krishna and his family members, the royal order of the Yadu dynasty, were the conquerors of all the kings of the world. The Kshatriyas used to fight the king of various dominions and kidnap their beautiful princess daughters after conquering their relatives. This system was laudable because the Kshatriyas and their princes would be married only on the basis of the chivalry of the conquering Kshatriya. All the young princes of the Yadu dynasty married the daughters of other kings in this way, by chivalrous force. And thus they were conquerors of all the kings in the world. Vidura wanted to impress upon his elder brother that fighting with the Pandavas was fought with so many other dangers because they were supposed to be Lord Krishna. One who has conquered even in his childhood demons like Kamsa and Jarasandha, and demigods like Brahma and Indra. Therefore, all universal powers are behind the Pandavas. So here it is said that the counsel given by Mahatma Vidur was very just, was very good, because he wanted the injustice to be stopped immediately. Sa esha dosha purushadvidaste grihan pravishto yamapatyamatyaha pushnasi krishna vimukha gator shri shriris Tajasva Ashevam Kula Kushalaya. You are maintaining offense personified, strong words, Duryodhana, as your infallible son. But he is envious of Lord Krishna. And because thus you are maintaining a non devotee of Krishna, you are devoid of all auspicious qualities. Relieve yourself of this ill fortune as soon as possible and do good to the whole family. Very strong advice. That you are maintaining the offense personified Duryodhana. And Duryodhana is also envious of Lord Krishna. So relieve yourself of this ill fortune. What is that relief? It will be detailed. A good son is called apatya, one who does not allow his fathers to fall down. This is Vedic term. The son can protect the father's soul when the father is dead by offering sacrifices to please the Supreme Lord Vishnu. This system is still prevalent in India. After the death of his father, a son goes to offer sacrifice at the lotus feet of Vishnu at Gaya and thus delivers the father's soul. The son goes to offer sacrifice at the lotus feet of Vishnu at Gaya and thus delivers the father's soul if the father is fallen. But if the son is already an enemy of Vishnu, how in such a inimical mood can he offer sacrifice unto Lord Vishnu's lotus feet? Lord Krishna is directly the personality of Godhead Vishnu, and Duryodhana was inimical to him. He would therefore be unable to protect his father, Dhritarashtra, after his death. He himself was to fall down because of his faithlessness towards Vishnu. How then could he protect his father? Vidura advised Dhritarashtra to get rid of such an unworthy son as Duryodhana as soon as possible. If he was, if he was at all anxious to see the good of his family. According to the moral instructions of Chanakya Pandit, what is the use of a son who is neither learned man nor a devotee of the Lord? If the son is not a devotee of the Supreme Lord, he is just like blind eyes, source of trouble. If a son is not a devotee of the Supreme Lord, he is just like blind eyes, a source of trouble. A physician may sometimes advise the extrication of such useless eyes from their sockets so that one can be relieved of the constant trouble. Duryodhan was exactly like blind troubling eyes. He would be source of great trouble to the family of Dhritarashtra as foreseen by Vidura. Vidura therefore rightly advised his elders. Vidura therefore rightly advised his eldest brother Vidura was the youngest. In between was Pandu, who died, and the eldest was Dhritarashtra. Vidura therefore rightly advised his eldest brother to get rid of this source of trouble. Dhritarashtra was wrongly maintaining such personified offense, that is Duryodhan, under the mistaken impression that Duryodhan was a good son, able to liberate his father. So Prabhupada is giving that who is actually a son and what exactly is the duty of a son. Very clearly Prabhupada has given here. इति उचिवांस्तत्र सुयोधनेन प्रभावृद्धा कपोस्फुरिताधरेण असत्कृता स्मरणीयशीला षट्टा सकरानुजा सौबालिना. While speaking thus, Vidur, whose personal character was esteemed by a respectable person, was insulted by Duryodhan. So when this good advice was being spoken by Mahatma Vidur in the assembly of the Kauravas, at that time Duryodhan was also there. So Duryodhan could not hear. He insulted Mahatma Vidur, who was swollen with anger and whose lips were trembling. Duryodhan was in the company of Karna, his younger brother, and his maternal uncle Shakuni. It is said that giving good counsel to a foolish person causes a fool to become angry. Just as feeding milk to a snake only increases his venomous poison. Saint Vidura was so honorable that his character was looked up to by all respectable persons. But Duryodhan was so foolish that he dared to insult Vidura. This was due to his bad association with Shakuni, his maternal uncle, as well as his friend Karna, who always encouraged Duryodhana in his nefarious acts. So, this wicked-mindedness of Duryodhana, Prabhupada is diagnosing. What was the reason? Because of his association with such bad characters like Shakuni and Karna, who always encouraged Duryodhana in his nefarious acts. Further, कायेन मत्र उपजुवा जिहिमा दस्यासुतं यद बलिनेव पुष्टः तस्मिन् प्रतीपा पराकृत्याष्टे निर्वस्याताम् अशुपूर्णक्षवासना. So Duryodhan became very, very angry by hearing the advice of Mahatma Vidur. What was the advice given by Mahatma Vidur? What advice did Vidurji prescribe? What Vidur Niti he gave to Dhritarashtra? Pradeep?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
That Lord Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So you should take the shelter of Krishna.
No, you are not hearing properly. This was not the. What were the two advices given by Vidur to Dhritarashtra? Purushottam?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare-
To relieve from his from Duryodhana's मतलब दुर्योधन को छोड़ने का एक एडवाइस दिया था
छोड़ने का?
कि
क्या छोड़ने का?
दुर्योधन एक्चुअली वो नास्तिक था, इसलिए बोला था कि
क्या करे? छोड़ दो उसको, उसको निकाल दो। छोड़ क्या दो? Kick him out. This envious person who is there in the kingdom of yours, who is a non-devotee, you release him, means you kick him out from the kingdom. And also from the position of being a prince. That is one. What was the second? Manoram? Unmute and speak, Baba. Why are you taking so much time? You are hearing or not?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, actually, I was little late, Prabhuji, so maybe I'm not connecting, Prabhuji.
No, I don't know. Mamta, what was the advice by Vidurji?
Prabhuji, to take the shelter under the Lord Krishna. That was the first advice.
So that is already done, na? Then to remove Duryodhana. What was the other advice? Ravindra Prabhu? मुझे इतना नींद आ रहा है, उसके बाद भी मैं थोड़ा बहुत पढ़ पा रहा हूँ जग के, तो कम से कम सुनो तो सही।
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, if your son is not devotee of Supreme Lord, then
That
he
is
is
already
like
done. That part is done. That is the same thing you are repeating. What was the main advice? क्या सुन रहे हो यार? Yes, Ramya? Dayāśīl is still not there today. Where is he? तुम ऐसे बैठते हो कि दिखाई ना दो? हाँ? लैपटॉप नहीं है क्या तुम्हारे पास? दयाशील?
अभी चार्ज नहीं है प्रभु जी, चार्ज नहीं है उसमें।
ठीक है भैया, तुम लोग हमेशा ही डिस्चार्ज रहो, मोबाइल फोन डिस्चार्ज, लैपटॉप डिस्चार्ज, सब डिस्चार्ज ही डिस्चार्ज है। मालूम नहीं है तुमको शाम को क्लास होगा? बोलो रम्या।
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, the first advice was to give the right share of Pandavas.
Yes, to return back the kingdom. This was the first advice. And second advice was the person who is the most envious person in your kingdom towards the Pandavas and the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the envious Duryodhana, you kick him out. But that snake, Duryodhana was there in the kingdom. He could not tolerate. And he started to accuse and abuse the saintly Vidura. He is asking, he is saying, who asked him to come here? The son of the kept mistress. See how abusive or how insulting he is. He is so crooked that he spies in the interest of the enemy against those who support, or against those whose support he has grown up. Toss him out of this palace immediately and leave him with only his breath. Duryodhana said he is trying to kick me out of the kingdom, of the palace. He cannot kick me out, but I will kick him out. When getting married, the Kshatriya king, so see the history of Vidur is given here. When getting married, the Kshatriya king would take several other youthful girls along with the married princesses. This was the convention that whenever the princess was getting married, so in the marriage with the dowry, she was getting many of her maidens. These girl attendants of the king were known as Dasis or attendant mistresses. By intimate association with the king, the Dasis would get sons. Such sons were called Dasiputras, and they had no claim to the royal position. but they would get maintenance and other facilities just like prince. Vidur was the son of such a Dasi, and he was thus not counted among the Kshatriyas. Actually, who is Vidur? What is the identity of Vidurji? Who is he? Gyanshi, you know who is Vidurji? Mahatma Vidur?
He was Yamraj in the
Very
previous.
good. She is very intelligent. He is Yamraj. And Yamraj was cursed. By whom was he Yamraj cursed?
Mandavya Rishi.
Very good. Excellent. What was the story? Very good, very good. Give it a try. Don't leave it.
One day, some things were stolen from a king's kingdom, and then when the soldiers was finding the thieves kept the stolen items in the ashrama of Mandavya Rishi. Then the soldiers thought that Mandavya Rishi was the leader of the thieves group, so they caught Mandavya Rishi and took to the king, and he was pierced by a wooden spear. But by the Lord's grace, he didn't die. He went to Yamraj and asked why he was pierced by the wooden spear. So Yamraj said that when he was a small child, he pierced a insect with a blade of kusha grass. That was the reaction. But Mandavya Rishi said that this was not appropriate because he was just a small child. And he said that I curse you to become a son of maidservant.
Very good. Excellent. Where did you read this entire story episode?
I took a book of Vidura, so I read in it.
Very good. Excellent. Thank you. Thank you. You should, cultivate and deepen this habit of studying the Shastras. Very good. Excellent. So this is how Vidur, who is Dharmaraj, Yamraj is also known as Dharmaraj. One of his incarnation is in the form of Maharaj Yudhishthir. But he personally is there in the form of Vidur. Vidur was the son of such a Dasi, and he was thus not counted among the Kshatriya king. Dhritarashtra was very affectionate towards his younger Dasi Putra brother Vidura. And Vidura was a great friend and philosophical advisor to Dhritarashtra. Duryodhana knew this very well, that Vidura was the great soul and well-wisher. But unfortunately, he used strong words to hurt his innocent uncle. Duryodhana not only attacked Vidura's birth, but he also called him an infidel because he seemed to support the cause of Yudhishthir. He gave such damaging words. He said he spies in the interest of enemy against those who support he has grown up. So he was questioning the integrity of Mahatma Vidur. Duryodhana not only attacked Vidura's birth but also called him an infidel because he seemed to support the cause of Yudhishthir, whom Duryodhana considered his enemy. He desired that Vidur be immediately put out of the palace and deprived of all his possessions. If possible, he would have liked him, caned until he was left with nothing but his breath. This was the intent of the wicked Duryodhana. He charged that Vidur was a spy of the Pandavas because he advised King Dhritarashtra in their favor. Such is the situation of palace life. This is called Rajniti. This is actually Rajniti. From where the Rajniti is coming? The word Rajniti is coming from this palace life. There are instances of when Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, he was invited by the king of Agartala, and he was in this palatial ministers. So seeing the politics there, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta was so disgusted that he left. The same way, this politics which was being governed by Duryodhana was in such a way so that Vidur would be compelled to leave. And he had a desire to even punish him, cane him up, until he was left with nothing but his breath. He charged that Vidur, was a spy of the Pandavas because he advised King Dhritarashtra in their favor. Such is the situation of palace life and intricacies of diplomacy. Even a faultless person like Vidur would be charged with something abominable and punished. So in this world, don't get upset. Don't get sentimental when people accuse you, blame you, or target you. There is nothing new. If you remain in this world, this is bound to happen. Padam padam yada vipadam natesha. Sāci-Sutā ye pada pallava plavam mahat padam punyo yasho murare. Bhavam buddhir vats padam padam yada vipadam natesha. It is very good. In a way, this brings detachment. If you have some wrong experiences, some bad experiences, if you are betrayed by people, then it is very good because this will break your illusion that you have from this material world. It should happen. The earlier, the better. So this situation became a blessing for Mahatma Vidur. The mistreatment by Duryodhana and his family members and his friends, that they insulted so much Mahatma Vidur that he decided to leave. He decided to leave. One moment. Such is the situation. Okay. That even faultless persons like Vidura could be charged with something abominable and punished. Vidur was struck with wonder at such unexpected behavior of his nephew Duryodhana. And before anything actually happened, he decided to leave the palace for good. So this is true in this world. People are so much having ignorance and attachment that even till the time of their final day of their departure, they don't want to come out of the illusion and the attachment. So it is very good if they get some jolt, some jerk, some strong reality check of this world. So this will break the illusion and it will bring distaste for this material world. so that they can have a sense of detachment and renunciation. Otherwise, it will never happen. It will never happen. So in a way, it was a blessing to what Duryodhana did with Vidura. That Vidura decided to leave the palace of Dhritarashtra for good. The Prabhupada is writing that he decided to leave the palace for good. You can see the screen. The verses are visible.
Yes, Prabhuji.
सहितम अतुल बना कर्ण बाने भृतापुरो मर्मासु तदीतोऽपि स्वयं धनुर्द्वारी निधयामयम् गतो व्यथा अयत् उरु manayana. Thus being pierced by arrows through his ears. What pierces the arrow through the ears is strong words, insulting words, criticism. And afflicted to the core of his heart, Vidura placed his bow on the door and quit his brother's palace. He was not sorry, for he considered the act of the external energy to be the supreme. This is the wise man. He did not start blaming. There was no game of blame and counter blame. That Dhritarashtra did not intervene, Dhritarashtra did not stab Duryodhana, or I will tell Duryodhana, or I will teach Vidura, Dhritarashtra. No such blame, counter blame. He considered the act of the external energy to be the supreme. And he left this place. So a pure devotee of the Lord is never perturbed by an awakened position, or by an awkward position, sorry. A pure devotee of the Lord is never perturbed by an awkward position created by the external energy of the Lord. In the Bhagavad Gita 3:27 it is stated, Prakriti kriyamanani gune karmani sarvasha ahankara vimudhatma kartaham iti manyate. A conditioned soul is absorbed in material existence under the influence of different modes of external energy. Absorbed in false ego, he thinks that who is doing everything by himself. The external energy of the Lord, the material nature, is fully under the control of the Supreme Lord. And the conditioned soul is fully under the grip of the external energy. Therefore, the conditioned soul is fully under the control of the laws of the land. But due to illusion only, he thinks himself independent in his activities. Duryodhana was acting under such influence of the external nature, by which he would be vanquished at the ultimate end. He could not accept the sound advice of Vidur, but on the contrary, he insulted the great soul, who was the well-wisher of his whole family. Vidur could understand this because he was a pure devotee of the Lord. In spite of being very strongly insulted by Duryodhana's word, Vidur could see that Duryodhana, under the influence of Maya, the external energy, was making progress on the path towards his own ruination. He therefore considered the acts of the external energy to be the supreme. Yet he also saw how the internal energy of the Lord helped him in that particular situation. Both. He saw the influence of the external energy on Duryodhana and Dhritarashtra and his son. And also he saw the influence of the internal energy in his own life. A devotee is always in a renounced temperament. This is the point. A devotee is always in a renounced temperament because the worldly attractions can never satisfy him. Vidura was never attracted by the royal palace of his brother. He was always ready to leave the palace and devote himself completely to the transcendental loving service of the Lord. So this should be the internal disposition of the devotee. He should not have any expectations or attachment with this material existence. If he is actually a devotee, he should not be having any such attraction for asat. This entire material existence is what? Asat. His attachment he should gradually develop for Sat, the supreme absolute truth. This material creation, material existence, material body, material mind, material relationships, everything is Asat. But the non-devotee is completely engrossed in Asat. So, see the internal disposition. What is the difference between who is actually a devotee and who is a non-devotee? In the internal disposition, the consciousness is being revealed in this part of Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay. Duryodhana was acting under such influence of the external nature by which he would be vanquished at the ultimate end. He could not accept his sound advice of Vidura, but on the contrary, he insulted the great soul who was the well-wisher of his whole family. Vidura could understand this because he was a pure devotee of the Lord. In spite of being strongly insulted by Duryodhana's word, Vidur could see that Duryodhana, under the influence of Maya, the external energy, was making progress on the path towards his own ruination. He therefore considered the acts of external energy to be supreme. That is for those who are non-devotees. External energy is the supreme. They are completely under the dictates of the external energy. Yet he also saw how the internal energy of the Lord helped him in that particular situation. A devotee is always in renounced temperament because the worldly attractions can never satisfy him. Vidura was never attracted by the royal palace of his brother. He was always ready to leave the palace and devote himself completely to the transcendental loving service of the Lord. Now he got the opportunity by the grace of Duryodhana. See Prabhupada's purport. Now he got the opportunity by the grace of Duryodhana. And instead of being sorry at the strong words of insult, he thanked him from within, because it gave him the chance to live alone in a holy place and fully engage in the devotional service of the Lord. When Lord Ram was in exile in Chitrakoot, out of the 14 years, they spent more than 11 years in Chitrakoot, in the hermitage, in the forest area. And one day Sita Devi approached Lord Ram and she inquired from Lord Ram that, are you not feeling separation from Ayodhya, from the palace of Ayodhya, from our mothers, from our brothers, from our citizens of Ayodhya? Then what Lord Ram replied? Anyone know what was the reply of Lord Ram? It is there in Valmiki Ramayana. What Lord Ram replied? You all don't know, you are reacting as if you have never heard Ramayana. There's something new coming up. What Lord Ram replied? Lord Ram replied that this is the best days of my life. These are the best moments of my life, because I am having opportunity to be away from Ayodhya and associate with the saintly persons. So what he exhibited? He exhibited the sense of detachment. Very important. On our own, we are so blind and we are so much misled by the illusionary energy that we will never ever accept that what is Sat and what is Asat. So if there is some arrangement by the providence to remove this veil of illusion, then only awakening is possible. he thanked him from within because it gave him the chance to live alone in the holy place and fully engage in the devotional service of the Lord. The word gata vyatha, without being sorry, is significant here because Vidur was relieved from the tribulations which trouble every man entangled in material activities. He therefore thought that there was no need to defend his brother, who, with his bow, because his brother was meant for ruination. Thus he left the palace before Duryodhana could act. Maya, the supreme energy of the Lord, acted here both internally and externally. Hare Krishna. So I'll stop here. These are the reasons for Vidura's departure. And in such a state, Vidurji departed. And what was the result of such maturity, of such spiritual maturity, that he met the chance to associate with Maitreya Muni. And Maitreya Muni had the association of the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna in his final moments. And Vidurji heard what Lord Krishna spoke from Maitreya Muni. How it was possible? Because he left his palatial pleasures for comfort. Hare Krishna. Any discussion? Any question or query? There must be some inquiry. If there is some awakening, there must be some inquiry. Otherwise, as covered as ever. Yes, Mamta?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Prabhuji, how Maya can work as a internal energy and external energy both in case of Duryodhana?
Not in
Because
case of Duryodhana. In case of Duryodhana, it will work only one way. That is external. That is external. Who can answer this question? Who will answer this question? What Mamta has inquired. That how the energy can act both internally and externally. Who knows the answer? There are hundreds of purport of Srila Prabhupada where Prabhupada has explained this. At least 100, even more. How much you are properly doing your study? So you please answer. Priyanka, where are you?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
I hope your health is okay.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, you please answer. This should be answered in two parts. First, as I said briefly, for Duryodhana, it will never act internally. It will only act externally. But for Vidur, it will never act externally. It will always act internally. What example Srila Prabhupada gives? You should be knowing this. Not known to you, Priyanka?
Prabhuji, actually Supreme Lord has two. One is external energy and internal energy.
No. Don't go on that track. It is saying, see the question, see the statement. That the energy acted both internally and externally. So how the same energy can act internally and externally? This is our precise question. Right, Mamta?
Yes, Prabhuji.
So if you have understanding, you speak. If you don't have, then you say you don't know. Be honest. Who will answer? Sonika?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare
Prabhuji, Prabhuji, Duryodhan was envious to Lord Krishna, so that's why external energy covered.
No, I am asking how that energy can simultaneously act as internal and external. Is it possible? Prabhupada is giving this statement.
Yes, Prabhuji, for devotees, external energy never act on them. So Vidura was pure
So what are
devotee
you
of
thinking? You have become devotee and there is no influence of external energy on you. You are under
No,
the...
no,
No? No, still it is not clear to you. Who will answer this question? Hundreds of purport Prabhupada has highlighted this. At least 100 purport, even more. Yes, Madan Sarup Prabhu?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. So externally, Maya creates a illusion. As a result, person get attached to his family and material world. And internally, Maya creates a detachment from this material world and turns towards the God.
Maya does not create detachment. Mhm. Now, Prabhupada gives the example to make it very clear how the same energy acts differently on different persons. Prabhupada gives a very significant example. You are not visible. Dayāśīl and Ramya, your camera is facing the wall. You are showing us your wall or your air conditioner. In the entire session, we are seeing the air conditioner. Yes, you answer, Ramya.
I don't know, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
So who raised the hand? Where is Dayāśīl? Okay, Manoram, you have done the search and found out.
Uh, Prabhuji, actually, I think there was once a discussion, and that example I just remember, Prabhuji.
Okay.
Same electricity, it acts as cooling and heating agents.
Yes, दिमाग की बत्ती जल गई, electricity flow हो गया. Yes, Prabhupada gives the example of the same electrical energy. How have you all missed this point? Do we not use the same electrical energy in summers for cooling and in winters for heating? For those who are non-devotees, it will act as external. It is avaranatmika and prakshepatmika. It covers the real identity of the living entity from identifying its true self as soul. That is called avaranatmika. And he identifies himself with the body and mind. And he tries to find enjoyment at this level. And what the illusionary energy does, it constantly kicks him. But he tries to find material sense pleasure. And the same energy, Prabhupada gives the example of an expert electrician actually. That an expert electrician is adept in using the electrical energy as per his requirement. The same energy he can utilize in summers to give cooling and in winters to give heating. So actually the energy is one, but it acts differently. It becomes Mahamaya in terms of non-devotees and it becomes Yogmaya in terms of devotees. So what the Mahamaya does, it takes the Jiva away from Krishna. And what the Yogmaya does, it brings the Jiva closer to Krishna. And the example of electrical energy is there. Okay, Mamta?
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare
So
Krishna,
we can
Prabhuji.
know whose shelter we are accepting. Are we accepting the shelter of Yogmaya or we are accepting the shelter of still Mahamaya? Every Jiva has the choice. That is why the Jiva Shakti is Tathastha. Either he can remain under the purview of Yogmaya or he can be under the influence of Mahamaya. It's his choice. Every Jiva has his own choice. So, Vidurji is having this gratitude towards Duryodhana. See, that is why he is Mahatma Vidur. That Duryodhana helped him get out of the influence of Mahamaya and take the shelter of Yogamaya. And Prabhupada writes in that purport that this is the dealing in the palace, the Rajaniti. Wherever there is a Rajaniti, it is not Rajaniti. It is not Raj. It is Aniti. It is not niti. It is aniti. So wherever there is aniti, that place we should quit. We should leave it. That is a sound. That is a signal that we should become detached and become renounced. If you really want to live life in this material world, this is the foremost quality that you have to develop, is to become to some extent detached and renounced and not claim anything belongs to you. Even this body does not belong to us. This mind does not belong to us. So if you have some understanding and realization, then you can peacefully live in this world. Otherwise, the mind will create havoc. And who will suffer? No one else. You see the disposition of Vidurji? He is thanking Duryodhana. Wow. Someone, says any critical words to us, or he abuses us. You see what is the impact? That remains in our heart for a long period of time. We cannot overcome that trauma. Can we overcome that trauma? And you see the impact in the heart of Mahatma Vidur. He is thanking. There was the same situation in the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam. Who remembers? This is where we have to remember. In the times of disturbance, our mind will, create havoc. How to break the momentum of mind? We should bring in such there was then similar incident. Hare Krishna, quickly. And this is the main character of
You are not audible.
Bhagavatam. अभी क्या पूछना है? इम्पैक्ट नहीं आता हमारे हार्ट में, कुछ नहीं आ रहा है, बस बैठ जा रहे हैं, सुन रहे हैं, इस कान से लेके इस कान तक.
Not audible, Prabhuji.
I am asking who is this most prominent character possibility to hear Bhagavatam? Everything seems to be. Otherwise, I will join from my mobile phone. Hare Krishna. Is the audio working now? Yes, no?
Not yet, Prabhuji. Not yet.
Okay. Hare Krishna, can you hear me? Oh my God. Hare Krishna.
Yes, now
अभी आवाज आ
audible.
रहा है?
Yes, Prabhuji.
It was. Oh, that personality, so much time I have given you. How Srimad Bhagavatam began. We should have these examples live in our heart. Not that we completely forget it. It is Parikshit Maharaj. He was cursed to die in 7 days. And how he accepted this situation? Did he counter Shringi? Did he call the sage some bad come this news? The good news. Then he accepted it, detached. And what was the result? He became the recipient of Srimad Bhagavatam. This is very integral. One of the foremost opulence of the Supreme Lord is renunciation. And we see this exemplary quality of Mahatma Vidur here. He thanked Duryodhana for insulting him to such extent, so that would invoke renunciation in his heart. Okay, it is getting late. We'll stop here. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanandi, Hari Hari Bol.